Luffy, the pirate who seeks freedom. But what if the man who inspired him wasn't a pirate, but his own grandfather? And what if, instead of a straw hat, Luffy had received a marine cap? What would happen if Monkey D. Luffy decided to become a marine? The answer is simple. He wouldn't just change the Marines, he would break them from within. This isn't just a what-if about a career change. It's an exploration of how Luffy's indomitable spirit would collide with the rigid structure of the world. Let's see how the greatest hero potential of the Marines would become their #1 enemy, all in the name of true justice. Let's imagine the starting point. Instead of Shanks, the central figure in young Luffy's life is his grandfather, Monkey D. Garp. Garp, seeing the potential and energy in his grandson, decides to personally train him from an early age to become the greatest Marine of all time. Luffy's dream wouldn't be to become the Pirate King, but rather the hero of the Marines, just like his grandfather, or perhaps even reach the rank of Fleet Admiral so he could be the freest man in the Marines. His journey would start similarly, but with a different purpose. He would leave for the sea, not to find the One Piece, but to capture pirates and protect the innocent. His first companion wouldn't be Zoro the pirate hunter, but Kobe. The two of them, with their pure dreams of justice, would form a dynamic duo, quickly rising through the ranks of the Marines. Luffy's contagious personality and his strong sense of morality would attract other recruits with noble hearts, forming a special unit within the Marines, much like Sword, but even more chaotic and unpredictable. He would be an up-and-coming star, a hero to the people. His Gomu Gomu no Mi would be seen as an eccentric yet effective tool to capture pirates without killing them, making him immensely popular among civilians. He would be known as the Rubber Marine, a symbol of a more compassionate, less lethal form of justice. But Luffy's justice and the Marines' absolute justice are two very, very different things, and the clash would be inevitable. The problem would begin the moment Luffy encountered corruption. In arcs like Alabasta, he wouldn't see Crocodile as a Shichibukai, an ally of the government. He would see him as a tyrant making an entire country suffer. Luffy, the Marine, would openly challenge the authority of his superiors to save Vivi and her kingdom. He wouldn't follow orders, he would follow his heart. This would bring him into direct conflict with figures like Smoker, who, in this scenario, would be a constant rival, and eventually with the admirals. Imagine the scene at Enies Lobby. Instead of declaring war on the world government to save Robin, a criminal, Marine Luffy would discover the truth about the Buster Call on Ohara and Robin's past. He wouldn't see her as an enemy, but as a victim. His justice would force him to rebel against CP9 and his own fellow Marines to protect her. He would become a traitor in the eyes of the system, but a hero in the eyes of the truth. His motto wouldn't be, "I will be the Pirate King," but "I will be the kind of Marine who can protect everyone." He would create a faction within the Marines, a force of moral justice that would openly challenge the orders of the Celestial Dragons. He would be reprimanded, punished, but his grandfather Garp would use his influence to repeatedly protect him, creating growing tension in the higher ranks of the Marines. The Gorosei and Imu would start seeing Garp's grandson not as a promising hero, but an internal threat, a D who was corrupting their very power structure. If the idea of a Marine Luffy challenging the admirals in the name of true justice excites you, then help our cause grow. Punch that like button Garp style. And if you want to see how this internal rebellion ends, subscribe to One Piece Secrets and join our special division. The breaking point would be Marineford. In this scenario, Ace would still be a pirate and get captured. But now, Luffy wouldn't be an invader. He would be a vice admiral, at least, present on the battlefield. When he discovered that the entire war was a manipulation by Sengoku to lure Whitebeard, and the Marines were willing to sacrifice their own men for absolute justice, his ideal of the Marines would shatter. At the crucial moment,
When Akainu tried to execute Ace, Marine Luffy would move. But this time, he wouldn't just be protecting his brother. He would be committing the greatest act of insubordination in history. He would attack an admiral. The Marineford War wouldn't be Marines versus pirates anymore. It would become a civil war within the Marines. Luffy's faction, Kobe's, and perhaps even Garp's, finally forced to choose a side, would turn against Akainu's faction and the Absolute Justice faction. It would be total chaos. The war would end with the Marines completely fractured, divided between those who follow the orders of the gods and those who follow the justice of the people. Ace might even survive in this scenario, with Garp and Luffy protecting him together. We would see regular Marines, inspired by years of Luffy's heroism, hesitating to attack his idol, creating general confusion on the battlefield. Shanks's intervention at the end wouldn't be to stop a war, but to mediate a split that would threaten to destroy the world's greatest military force from within. Luffy would no longer be a Marine. He would be the leader of the greatest revolution the Marines have ever seen, more dangerous to the system than his own father. After the split at Marineford, Luffy would become the most wanted man within the world government. He wouldn't be a pirate, but a renegade Marine, leader of a new peace force, the Neo Marines, or something similar. His crew would consist of Marines who deserted, like Kobe, Helmeppo, and perhaps even figures like Fujitora and Smoker who would join his cause. They wouldn't seek the One Piece, but the truth. His journey through the New World would be to expose the corruption of the world government and the tyranny of the celestial dragons. He would become a natural ally of his father, Monkey D. Dragon, and the Revolutionary Army. They would work together, with Dragon attacking from the outside and Luffy from within. The revelation about Joy Boy and the Lost Century wouldn't come from a poneglyph on a pirate island, but from a secret investigation within the deepest archives of the Marines, perhaps with Robin's help, who he saved and became a secret ally. Luffy's ultimate goal wouldn't be treasure, but the total reform of the system. He would fight to create a world where a Marine could be truly free to protect everyone, without having to bow to corrupt gods. His internal knowledge of the Marine structure and his tactics would make him a far more lethal enemy than any pirate. He wouldn't just fight against the Marines, he would outsmart them at their own game, anticipating their moves and using their own bureaucracy against them. So what would happen if Luffy became a Marine? He would start as the greatest hero of the organization, but end as its greatest threat. His pursuit of freedom wouldn't disappear, it would just change targets. Instead of fighting against the system from the outside, he would erode it from within, exposing its lies and inspiring a revolution. He would never become the Pirate King. He would become the fleet admiral of a new and just world, the true successor to Garp, the hero who didn't just save cities, but saved the soul of the Marines. His legacy would be a Marine Corps that serves the people, not the gods. A Marine Corps where justice isn't blind, but compassionate. He wouldn't find the One Piece, but he would create a world where a treasure like that wouldn't be necessary. But what about you? Do you think Marine Luffy would have been more or less impactful than Pirate Luffy? Leave your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on One Piece Secrets.